Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're doing something a bit different, really focusing in just one source this time. But it's a potent one, especially if you're operating at that high level, leading teams, coaching, or really pushing your own limits.
That's right. We're diving into excerpts from Upgrading Your Internal Operating System by Coach Ed Padalecki, Coach P.
Yeah, Coach P. And our mission today is pretty specific. We want to unpack his core idea about self-image, how it's not just some vague feeling, but actually a key driver of performance.
And then, crucially, look at the actual technique he suggests. Surprisingly simple, practical way to actively shape that self-image.
So we're aiming to pull out the essentials, that fundamental connection Coach P highlights between identity, who you really believe you are, and how you consistently show up under pressure.
And how deliberate mental training, using specific language, can seriously boost your consistency, your composure, your clarity when it really counts.
And listen out for this one phrase he talks about. A simple tool that Coach P says helps you forge, not just wish for that best version of yourself. All right, let's jump in.
Okay, so Coach Ed Padalecki starts upgrading your internal operating system with this really foundational concept. He calls it a powerful loop. The core idea is this. Your identity, so your core beliefs about yourself, that directly drives how you behave.
Right. Who I think I am determines what I do. Makes sense.
But then, and this is the important part, that behavior, when you repeat it often enough, it loops back and actually reinforces the very identity that started it all.
So it's a cycle. My beliefs shape my actions, and my actions then confirm and strengthen those beliefs.
Exactly. Like a constant conversation between your inner narrative and what you actually do. And central to this whole loop, Coach P stresses, is the concept of self-image.
Self-image. Okay.
He references the Olympic shooter Lanny Basham's definition here, which I think is great. It's just that self-image is what makes you act like you.
Huh. What makes you act like you? Simple, but deep. So it's more than personality.
Yeah, it's that ingrained set of beliefs, your expectations, the sort of internal rules that really govern your most consistent actions and reactions, especially under stress.
Okay, and the big insight Coach Padalecki pulls from this, the one that might sting a little bit, but is crucial for performance.
Is this: you will never consistently outperform your self-image.
Wow. Okay. Never consistently outperform it.
Right. And he's clear this isn't meant to be like a downer or a limitation you should feel bad about. It's presented as performance psychology. It's how our brains are wired. Your self-image, your internal operating system kind of sets the upper limit for your reliable performance.
Especially when things get tough, when the pressure's on.
Exactly.
That hits hard, doesn't it? It suggests you can have flashes of brilliance, maybe, but for that steady, reliable excellence that marks the real high performers, your beliefs about yourself have to be aligned.
And this leads Coach P to another really key point he makes. Identity is a habit.
Identity is a habit. Okay, unpack that.
Well, he's really strong on this. For elite performers, sports, business, doesn't matter. The field mental training isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely fundamental. Bedrock.
They get that consistency isn't just about physical skill or strategy.
Right. It's built on a solid internal state. But then Coach P points out this disconnect he sees all the time.
The disconnect. I think I know where this is going.
You probably do. Many successful people, professionals, athletes, they'll readily say, oh yeah, performance is 90% mental. We know it intellectually.
We say it all the time.
But then, he asks, where do you actually put your energy, your time, your resources for development? Often it's less than 10% focused on training that mental game.
Oof. That's a big gap. We know it's crucial, but we don't train it like it's crucial.
It's a huge disconnect, he highlights. We pour effort into skills, strategy, data, physical prep. But the biggest lever, our internal state, our self-image, we often just leave that to chance.
Which brings us to the need for, as Coach P puts it, intentionality.
Absolutely. He argues that if you're serious about performing consistently, with composure, with clarity, especially when it matters most, you have to shape your self-image as deliberately as you plan your business strategy, or manage your schedule, or track your KPIs.
It needs conscious, directed effort, not just wishful thinking.
Precisely.
Okay, so if we need to be intentional, how? How do we actually shape something like self-image deliberately? This is where Coach Padalecki gets practical, right? With the language technique.
Exactly. He introduces this core technique using specific language as the tool, and he breaks it down into two key situations or moments when you apply it.
Okay, moment one.
Moment one is when you're on N. This is when you catch yourself doing something well, performing like the version of you aspire to be, exhibiting a positive behavior, even a small one.
Okay, I'm tracking. What's the phrase?
The phrase is dead simple. That's like me to stay focused when others get distracted.
Or bringing calm when things are tense.
Yes. If you handle a stressful situation calmly, execute under pressure, you recognize it. That's like me to bring calm under pressure. The key is noticing any win, any instance where you acted like the person you're aiming to be.
And the why behind this. Why does saying that's like me actually work?
Coach P explains it as neural conditioning. When you consciously spot a good behavior and attach that specific phrase, that's like me, you're literally firing up and strengthening the brain circuits linked to that behavior and identity.
So you're reinforcing the pathway.
Exactly. You're helping your brain stamp it in, lock it in. You're giving specific positive feedback. Yes, this is the me that works. More of this.
So for you listening, the challenge from Coach P is become a detective for your own small wins today. Look for moments you handle something well, demonstrate a quality you value, and tag it. That's like me. It's not ego, it's training. You're claiming that action as part of your identity.
Now, Coach P is also a realist. He knows we're human. He's very clear the goal isn't perfection. We're all going to slip up.
Right. Nobody's perfect.
And that brings us to the second key moment. When you're off. When you notice a slip up, a behavior that doesn't fit the self-image you're building, maybe an old habit popping up.
Yeah, what do we do then?
The source says the first step is just to notice it, but crucially, without beating yourself up. Name it neutrally.
And the phrase for this moment.
The initial phrase is the counterpart. That's not like me.
That's not like me. Okay.
So maybe you reacted sharply in a meeting, and later you think, ugh, that wasn't how I wanted to handle that. You observe it and think, that's not like me to snap like that.
Or catching yourself endlessly scrolling on your phone when you know you needed rest.
Perfect example. You notice it. That's not like me to scroll mindlessly when I need recovery. And then Coach P introduces what he calls maybe the most powerful phrase for actually repatterning the behavior. Right after you say, that's not like me, you follow it with this. That might have been the old me, but it's not like the new me.
That might have been the old me, but it's not like the new me. That feels decisive, like drawing a line.
It really is. Coach P calls this the start of repatterning in progress because in that moment of noticing the slip, you're making a very conscious choice. You're putting a deliberate step between the trigger, the stimulus, and your old automatic reaction.
You're interrupting the pattern.
Exactly. This conscious interruption, this verbal declaration, it helps carve a new neural pathway. You're actively redirecting your brain and behavior away from the old pattern and towards the new identity you're forging.
So if you're listening, this is about taking active control right when you feel yourself slipping. It's not about self-criticism. It's notice, define it as not me anymore, and then declare your commitment to the new path. You're defining the slip out of your desired identity and defining yourself into the new one. It's quite active.
And Coach P ties this all together under the idea of the mental training reframe. He's careful to say this isn't just positive thinking or pretending everything's fine.
Right. It could sound like that on the surface, but he positions it as something deeper.
Fundamentally, it's about neural conditioning through deliberate repetition. He uses the analogy of reps in the gym. Every thought, every action is a rep.
Ah, like mental reps.
Exactly. These intentional mental and verbal reps using that's like me for the wins, and that's not like me anymore for the misses, they are literally building the neural architecture of your desired identity.
So the more deliberate you are with these reps,
The stronger, more automatic, more resilient that identity becomes.
which leads to the outcome Coach P talks about. If you consistently do this day after day, you eventually stop trying to act like that high performer.
It just becomes who you are. It integrates. It becomes your default.
Because, like he says, that's like you.
Right. Your internal operating system has been upgraded through training, not just hoping. The behavior naturally flows from that forged identity.
And this isn't just theory. He gives a really concrete, actionable takeaway, doesn't he? Today's 1% better move.
A super simple daily practice based right on this technique.
What is it?
2 steps for today. First, actively look for and catch one win. Just one. Something you did well, aligned with your best self, however small. And when you catch it, consciously stamp it. That's like me.
Be specific, right? That's like me to listen patiently, or that's like me to execute that plan. Own the win.
Exactly. Second step for today. Notice one habit, one pattern that shows up. Something you genuinely want to shift, something that doesn't serve the identity you're building.
Okay, notice the miss.
And respond not with judgment, but with the redefinition. That's not like me anymore. and maybe reinforce it with the full phrase, "That might have been the old me, but it's not like the new me."
And Coach P's point is the real magic isn't doing it perfectly today. It's the consistency of repeating this loop, catching wins, defining out misses, day after day.
Doing that regularly isn't just about tweaking actions.
It's fundamentally changing who you are behaviorally. You're actively becoming someone who performs consistently at that higher level because it flows from that trained self-image.
And I love how the source puts it. You're not faking it till you make it like you're pretending. You are deliberately forging it, shaping that identity with intentional mental reps. One win, one redirection at a time.
So wrapping up Coach Ed Padalecki's key ideas here from upgrading your internal operating system, the big takeaway for high performers is undeniable. Your consistent results are tied directly to your self-image, who you believe you are.
Right, but the empowering part is that's not set in stone. Coach P offers this really practical path using intentional language. "That's like me," reinforces the good stuff. "That's not like me anymore," helps you redirect from the old patterns.
It's a tangible tool, accessible, for actually conditioning your brain and forging the identity you need.
Yeah, for you listening, navigating business, coaching, competition, consistently using this, a simple technique could be a game changer. It's not just about practicing skills, it's about building the internal foundation for real consistency, composure, and clarity when things get intense.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? As you go about your day-to-day, facing whatever comes your way, what version of "that's like me" are you actively forging? With your actions, sure, but also with that internal conversation.
How could this simple daily habit start to reshape not just what you do tomorrow, but maybe even what you believe is possible for yourself down the road?
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. We hope this gives you some food for thought as you continue on your journey.